The New York Giants are currently gaining a lot of steam in the draft season. Some things so far have not gone their way, some things have, and people are starting to think that they are going to pull off a big trade and land a big pick here in the NFL draft. GM Joe Schoen talked at the Combine a few days ago, and based on what he said, and with all the rumors spreading, it really looks like they are about to pull off something big, and it will be much needed for this organization after many fans were so upset about how they let Saquon Barkley walk away last offseason. There was previously a lot of smoke about the Giants going all in on trying to trade for Matthew Stafford that I talked about a lot in previous videos. Those are now over for sure, as Stafford and the Rams agreed to a deal and he will now be staying with them. But this makes one thing clear: the Giants are trying everything they can to get a QB, and they will be very aggressive going forward trying to do so. So in this video, I'm going to address those rumors, and there is a lot to talk about. But before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so just to get it out there, the Giants could potentially trade up to number 1 with the Titans. I know the Titans front office has kind of been all over the place with what they have said they are going to do, but this would obviously happen in a case that the Giants love either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. If they trade up to number 1, they do not have to worry about the Browns potentially taking their guy at number 2, which is a great possibility because there is a lot of talk about them taking a QB at 2, with Adam Schefter even coming out and saying himself that he feels like Cleveland has to take a QB at 2. So like I said, this way the Giants can secure the guy they want and go all in on him and finally give the fans something to be excited about. And for some reason, I can sense the Titans want Hunter, and in that case it would make sense for them to trade back and get more in return while still getting their guy, because if the Giants traded up, obviously it would be to get a QB. They would stay at 3 if they wanted Hunter. New York really has to pick a QB after striking out on Matthew Stafford, and I think Joe Schoen knows this. If he does not get a QB, he will likely be fired, as well as Brian Dable and the whole staff, so this is really their only chance. I think he is starting to get very desperate, and rightfully so, because there are fans all over New York calling for his job and saying he should be fired already with how he handled the Barkley situation. Of course, that whole thing kind of got exposed on Hard Knocks, and also the whole saga with Daniel Jones and how the Giants do not even have a QB on their roster. I understand the frustration, no doubt, and I think he sees this and has to do something now, and the last thing they want is for Cleveland to take their guy at 2, or maybe even Tennessee and Cleveland go QB 1 and 2, and now the Giants would be stuck in a position with no future at the QB position. As bad as Joe Schoen has been, and as much as people want him gone, he actually did nail the draft last year for the Giants and got them going in the right direction in the future with his picks. Malik Neighbor was a huge hit and put up huge numbers without a good or even stable QB throwing him the ball, and he seems to be one of the best young wide receivers in the league, and obviously would have been way better with legit QB play, or even just an above average QB if we are being honest. But not only was it Neighbors, the Giants also hit on their next 4 picks in the draft. Tyler Nubin and Drew Phillips were huge defensive pieces for them, and both had very impressive rookie seasons, and they seem like they will be a big part of the defense going forward. And then offensively, the Giants hit on Tyrone Tracy, who had a very good rookie season and will likely be the running back going forward in this offense. And then Theo Johnson was also a solid hit, and he will be a big part of things going forward. So as hard as it does seem to be confident in Joe Schoen and his staff to get this draft and this pick right, they did a very good job last year, and I think Giants fans should be excited about what they could possibly do this year in terms of the draft and getting those late round steals on top of what they do with that first round pick. And then as far as Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders go, I do not necessarily think either of them are a sure thing, and it is not clear which one of them is better and will be better throughout their career, so the Giants just need to go through their scouting process and really dig deep to figure out which one is their guy. I think regardless of what happens, they should bring in a veteran QB as well to maybe let whoever they draft sit behind and learn, and there are a lot of names floating around now that they have missed out on Matthew Stafford. There are options such as Aaron Rodgers and Geno Smith, even though that one could be a reach, but there are also guys who could come in and play for a year, like Russell Wilson, who I mentioned before, and any of these guys mixed with whichever of Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders they may get, and the Giants really could have something to be excited about. They could finally be stable and solid at the QB position for the first time since Eli Manning. The Titans have said that they are going to go through their pre-draft and combine before they make any decisions as far as keeping or trading their pick, but I think it's very possible, and Joe Schoen even mentioned it as a potential option in his recent interview, and he had this to say about the draft. we have an idea of 3 to 5 players. We'll also look at trade up scenarios if that's a possibility. It's an exciting time of year for us. Shane also went on to talk about previous trade ups to the number 1 pick in the past and acknowledged that it could come with time and that it is something they have not dived too deep into yet. And with the Titans obviously saying they are going to go through a process before they make a decision, we will obviously not know for a little while if the Giants can pull this off or not. But based off what he is saying, how he is speaking, and the fact that this is a returning GM and a returning head coach after a terrible and dysfunctional season, and the fact that this is almost certainly their last chance, it sounds like they are absolutely desperate to do this move, and they are willing to do whatever it takes to get their guy. Elsewhere within the team, there's obviously a lot of holes to fill. A QB will not come in and save this team right away. While getting a guy under center would be a big step in the right direction, this team is still very far off, and they have to make some key moves in free agency and also with their other picks in the draft, which, as I mentioned earlier, they did a great job of last year. As far as free agents go, there are definitely a lot of options the Giants should be looking to target because, again, they need a lot of help. I think a huge area of need obviously is the offensive line, especially on the interior at the guard position, because John Runyon will start on one side, but opposite of him they have a hole. Obviously, Trey Smith is a big target every team in need of O-line help is looking at, but I think that is above the Giants' price, so I think a more likely option will be Will Fries, who will also of course cost them a good amount of money to get, but would be a much more reasonable add. They need help at the tackle position outside of Andrew Thomas, but I think Fries could help secure the interior of this O-line and will be a top target for sure. And then outside of that, 2 to 3 other positions of need stick out, and 2 of them are on defense, being a defensive tackle to pair with Dexter Lawrence and a veteran corner to come in and start for them. Obviously guys, like I said a million times, I know this team needs a lot of help at many positions, but they cannot fix everything this offseason at once. So addressing a big position like corner with guys like Travarius Ward or DJ Reed to come in and be the number 1 corner would be a huge get. And it is not often that number 1 corners are available to sign in free agency in the open market. And while of course it would be nice to draft one, the Giants are trading up and picking a QB here in my scenario, so hitting the free agency market is their only option. One final position I want to mention is a wide receiver number 2 to go alongside Malik Neighbors. Now, hypothetically, if the Giants do not pull off a move to get a QB like Sanders or Ward, Travis Hunter would be a great fit, because not only does he fill the need of an elite number 1 corner, but he also insists he will be playing wide receiver at the next level too, so he can help fill a void there, even if it is just in limited snaps. But obviously, we are saying they draft a QB and now they need a wide receiver too. They probably aren't going to be going after the big fish in T. Higgins or Chris Godwin, simply because they have money to spend elsewhere on more important positions of need. However, there are still a lot of solid names out there, such as DeAndre Hopkins, Amari Cooper, and Diggs. I think re-signing Darius Slayton is the ideal and perfect scenario, but it is very possible that he wants to go elsewhere. I mean, I still remember the interview after the end of last season where he just you could just tell that it has been a long ride and a long time in a Giants uniform with nothing to show but a bunch of losing seasons. So he could want to change of scenery, so likely the Giants will be searching amongst the other options. But yeah, that's really all I got for this video. I know I was so all over the place. I'm sorry if some of the stuff I said didn't make any sense. It's just kind of what came off the top of my head from the research that I've done. I apologize. I'm trying to get better at these freestyle videos where I'm not reading off a script. But yeah, let me know what you guys would like to see the Giants do. I know there's going to be a ton of shocking things that happen over the next few weeks. Probably everything I say in this video is going to be wrong, but it's that time of year. I love to just give my hypotheticals. But yeah, definitely curious to hear what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below what you would like to see next. Please be sure to drop a like and subscribe because your support truly does mean the world. And until next time, I will see you all later.